Good morning, Holmen. This is Dr. Chad Updike back again, continuing our weekly Facebook Live videos, talking about some of the commonly asked questions, some of the most commonly asked questions that I get in terms of chiropractic. One question that I get a lot is, are adjustments really necessary? Or why does my kid need a chiropractor? Why do they need to be adjusted? I hear some variation of this question almost every week in practice. A lot of times it's from actual patients who see kids running around our office all over the place. They say, why would that kid need chiropractic, or are adjustments really necessary for kids? And that's a great question, and I can understand why people would ask it. We can all understand why someone who has been in maybe a car accident or had a sports injury, or maybe even someone that's poured concrete for 20 years, why they would benefit from chiropractic care. But why would my 5-year-old daughter need to be adjusted or need to be checked by a chiropractor? So to answer that question, we need to first understand what we're looking at and addressing as chiropractors. So most people know that we deal with the spine, right? The only reason as chiropractors that we deal with the spine at all is to address the nervous system. The nervous system is made up of the brain sending messages down the spinal cord, out these individual nerve roots, literally to every part of your body. These nerves are so vitally important that they're protected by the hardest bones in our body, which are these movable vertebrae. Okay? The only problem with those guys being movable is that they're susceptible to being misaligned. Whether that's from a big thing like a trauma, a sports injury, a car accident, or maybe things like repetitive type issues, sitting behind a desk for 8-10 hours a day, or learning how to walk and falling thousands of times. When that happens, instead of protecting that nerve, it's actually going to put pressure on that nerve and irritate that nerve. So whatever that nerve is controlling isn't going to function properly. Now, about 10% of these nerves are there to sense pain. So if there's pressure on that portion of the nerve that senses pain, you're going to know something's wrong, right? But 90% of that nerve is there to run the function of your body and to control your body. So if there isn't pressure on the portion of the nerve that senses pain, we don't really know that anything's wrong. There could be issues going on if there's pressure on the portion of the nerve that doesn't sense pain. In kids, nerve pressure may show up in a variety of different ways and a little bit differently. It could show up with more functional issues like bedwetting, ear infections, asthma, ADD, ADHD, colic. These are all things that we see in children regularly in our office. So back to why children need to be checked by a chiropractor in the first place. Oftentimes the first trauma to a child is the birth process. Any parents out there that have gone through this know that it's not exactly an easy process, especially if there's any type of intervention that has to take place, whether that's vacuum extraction or forceps, or even just a long, laborious delivery. It can be very, very traumatic for the baby. So how about after that baby's born, as they continue to grow, they are starting to learn how to crawl. They're in new positions there. Or they're starting to pull themselves up onto the chair or onto counters and standing on their own. Or actually learning how to walk and then eventually run. How many times do you think a baby falls throughout that process? Hundreds, thousands, maybe 10,000 times over the course of learning how to walk and crawl. The crazy thing is that their bodies are extremely, extremely resilient, and they're great at covering things up. How about a 5-year-old who wrestles around with his buddies at recess? All you have to do is watch recess, and particularly boys, for about 10 minutes to realize how tough these kids are on their bodies. But at a young age, our bodies have a great ability to compensate and to cover up when things are going wrong, okay? But just like you wouldn't wait until your child was complaining of a toothache to take him and get checked by a dentist, you shouldn't wait until your child is complaining of neck pain or back pain to get him checked by a chiropractor. It's much easier to find a problem before it becomes symptomatic, before it becomes a huge issue, and fix it, versus letting it get worse and worse and worse over time. So 3 big takeaways from this video. Number 1, chiropractors deal with your nervous system. Because of that, we're able to help kids with many different issues. Like I said, asthma, we see a ton of ear infections, bedwetting, believe it or not, ADD, ADHD, colic, all things that can be helped through chiropractic care and taking the pressure off of your nervous system and allowing your body to function better. The second point, takeaway, children are extremely tough on their bodies, whether it's from the very first day of their life in the delivery process, or learning to walk, or roughhousing with their buddies and families. They're extremely tough on them. And the third big takeaway is that it's easier to prevent something bad from happening than trying to fix and restore health once we've lost it. Just like taking your child to a dentist to get their teeth checked and cleaned at an early age, you're trying to prevent those bad things from happening. You're trying to prevent cavities from forming in the first place, because we know it's way easier to stop them from happening than to fix them once they've gotten there. The same thing applies to your spine, except it's even more important because your nervous system is being directly affected, and that can cause any number of different issues. So if you haven't liked our page yet, go ahead and like our page. If you have any friends that you think should hear these messages or learn more about chiropractic, go ahead and tag them below in the comments, or even share this video to follow more questions that we'll be answering in the coming weeks on chiropractic care.